I know. A pregame show? When's the game, Mark? Like in September? Yep, Friday, September 2nd to be exact. So here's the deal. I really miss Storm hockey. I, like other fans, have been keeping tabs on the player moves and rumors about a potential coaching change with Lee moving on to Junior A. With all the information flying about, I thought it was time to talk with Lee and maybe one of the new players. When I did, it became clear that this needed to be passed on to all Campbell River Storm fans. So, we're in beautiful Campbell River, British Columbia, well in advance of the September 2nd season opener against the Oceanside Generals at Rod Brindamore Arena. This is the Storm Pregame Show, early edition.
Syra with a shot. Scores! Breeden Syra, his second of the night. Shot. Scores! Ryan drills his first goal of the season. Scores! Keenan Scardina is on fire. Shot. Holland scores. Tries to set it. Scores! Beautiful goal set up by Colin Blake. Colbron may get to Colbron with a chance. Colbron scores! Gage Colbron hat-trick!
Today on the pregame show, we'll have a chat with one of the newest Storm players, Reid Wilson. We'll share news from the 3 BC Junior B leagues. We'll talk about billet families. And we'll have a long discussion with head coach and general manager Lee Stone about his future, off-season trades and signings, identification camp, and a former Storm forward, James Severs. Meet Reid Wilson next on the pregame show, early edition.
There's a shot comes in and Souls got it. Left the rebound, but that was it. Now coming in, there's a shot. Another one, they score! Reid Wilson.
Talking with one of the newest Campbell River Storm players, Reid Wilson. Played with the Soyuz Coyotes last season in the KIJHL. First of all, welcome to the Campbell River Storm, Reid.
Hey, thanks a lot. Excited to be here.
Like to do this with all the new acquisitions. Like to talk about you, your background. Where did you grow up and play your minor hockey?
I was born in Bellingham, Washington, so I'm an American citizen. And, I'm actually a dual citizen, but I was born in Washington State, and I started playing hockey in Bellingham, Washington when I was about 4 or 5, and I played for a team called the Whatcom Warriors.
And highlights from minor hockey?
Well, not too much in Bellingham, but in 2010, around grade 8, I did make a move from Bellingham up to Vancouver. My whole family moved up, and I started playing minor hockey in Vancouver and in Richmond area, stuff like that. And definitely some big highlights were my last year in minor hockey. I ended up going to the BC Provincials and getting second place.
All hockey players. You know, you have people that help you develop. Anybody that sticks out for you as part of your development?
Definitely just like a lot of hockey players, a lot of kids. Like my dad was a big guy for my development and helped me out. And he's kind of the guy that really got me into hockey in the beginning, you know, going to his games, going to like his beer league games and like just watching him play. And of course support me, drive me around, and definitely some of my coaches from Seafair, Steve Robinson and Frank Bognar, I really appreciate everything they did. Frank kind of taught me a lot of the critiqueness of the game, a lot of the small details, so I really like that. And Steve really just brought out a lot of creativity in my play and just let things free flow and really get creative out there and make up plays and things like that.
You played your rookie season in the KIJHL last season, but you also AP'd with the Sockeyes. So you've had a little junior experience. Your biggest highlight from junior hockey so far?
My biggest highlight was probably in the Soyuz. Just being in the playoffs for me was a big highlight. Just the level of play and the nerves and intensity that were on each game was pretty exciting, and I loved it.
Speaking of the Coyotes, I mean, you look at the Coyotes' history in the last few seasons, they're one of the top squads in all of BC, 4th best record. You guys had an incredible defensive record, too.
Yeah, that was another big highlight, too, was the defense side of things. We actually set a KI record for least goals against, so that was kind of nice to be part of a little bit of history.
Yeah, 94 goals against. That's pretty incredible when you consider you guys are playing 52 regular season games. It's pretty awesome.
It's nice not getting scored on, that's for sure.
Your style. I've seen some highlights. You're somebody who can put the puck in the net when you need to. Talk about your style. What do you bring to the game?
Well, I'm a player who likes to really bring like a fast tempo to the game. Just try to get a lot of intensity into every shift I can out there, work hard along the boards, and just really make little chip plays, anything I can that's quick movements, and make passing plays to hopefully get a good scoring opportunity. And I love a good hard forecheck to try and force that turnover as quick as possible and get our team on the board, or at least get a good shot on goal.
You're coming to the Campbell River Storm. What do you know about the Campbell River Storm Junior Hockey Club?
I didn't know a lot right when I got traded, but after doing a little bit of research and stuff, you realize that they're definitely one of the top teams, and they have been for a while now in the Vancouver Islands Junior Hockey League and in BC. So I'm really excited to go there. I hear they got a lot of great fan support too, and a lot of fans pack the arena, so that's obviously a big part of that. I love that. Yeah,
it's a full experience, and that's one of the great things about this club. In my observations over the last few years, it's a great team on the ice, but the fan support in the community is great. But that goes to the quality of players like yourself that the Storm bring into town. So you're 18 years old. You still have a couple of seasons of junior eligibility left. What are your long-term plans when it comes to hockey?
I plan on definitely playing those next 2 years of junior hockey and not stopping anytime early, and definitely getting a little bit of a university education paid for, whether really anywhere, then that's my long-term goal.
Well, I'd really like to thank you for talking to us today, Reid, and I really look forward to seeing you at training camp.
Yeah, I look forward to that too. Thanks a lot.
The Coyotes on the power play. They scored on their first one. This is Colton Rhodes at the point. Dan Stone at the other side. Judd Rapoli down low. He's now got the puck. They're going to try and work it out the middle. There's Wilson. He scores. Coyotes now 2 for 2 on the power play.
Thanks to Reid for that interview. Time now for news from the BC Junior B Leagues. Starting off with the KIJHL, home of the Western Canadian champs, the 100 Mile House Wranglers. The big news this past week has been the buzz around upcoming changes to the KI schedule. During the Cyclone Taylor Cup, Jordan Smith, the tournament's play-by-play voice and the voice of the Victoria Cougars, pointed out that in the KIJHL final, it was a 10-hour drive on the bus from 100 Mile House to Kimberley. Many teams are saying that financially, it doesn't make sense to play outside their conference during the regular season. This will spell an end to interconference play. No more will 100 Mile House travel all the way to Spokane, Washington during the regular season. Many team supporters are upset at the prospect, and there's been a flurry of posts and tweets from fans. In talking to hockey people, there are potential KIJHL markets, particularly in the Cariboo, that would draw great fan support, but the travel costs are prohibitive. They're right. Williams Lake and Quesnel were great hockey markets. Both have had BCHL franchises, and back in my time in that part of the province, the rivalry between the Quesnel Millionaires and the Williams Lake Mustangs of the old Peace Cariboo Junior Hockey League was intense. With the league at 20 clubs already, I wouldn't be surprised if the KIJHL splits in a few seasons. It's more than twice the size of our league, yet only has one spot in the Cyclone Taylor Cup. Over in the PJHL, with news that the WHL Vancouver Giants are moving to Langley, the Langley Knights were suddenly without a home. According to Knights GM Amar Gill, they were trickle-down effect victims. The BCHL Langley Rivermen were forced out of their home, the Langley Event Center, by the Giants. And the Knights were forced out of the George Preston Arena by the Rivermen. After an initial period of chaos, the Knights found their new home for the 2016-17 campaign, and that's the North Surrey Arena. Closer to home, the BIJHL has a new president, Barb Byrne. She's been involved in hockey behind the scenes for years. I talked with Storm Governor Wes Road a few weeks back, and he feels that the Board of Governors has made an excellent choice. We're hoping to have the president on a future pregame show. Coming up on the show, an in-depth conversation with Lee Stone. But first, an interview we did a few months back with Wes Road on the importance of billet families. That's next. Here on the pregame show, talking with Wes Road about billets and the importance of billets, not just for general hockey, but sports in general. Campbell River Storm rely heavily on billet families. Can you talk about the program at all, Wes?
Thanks, Mark. The billet families, the billet program is probably one of the most important components of our program or any program in sports when players are from out of town. The importance of finding a place for them to feel safe, to integrate into families, and I use that word intentionally. They're not just there to eat and sleep, but they become part of those families' lives, along with responsibilities and accountability. It's a tremendous growing platform. It's part of the maturation process for them as players and as individuals.
Let's talk about your program in particular, who heads your program, and just the kind of lifelong bonds that are created as a result of billet.
Well, Sherilyn Irving is our billet coordinator, and I can't say enough good things about what she does, and it's not an easy task. You're trying to find the perfect match between a player and a family because each have their specific needs. It might be allergies, it might be kids, it might be age, school, work. There's a lot of stuff that comes into play. So kudos to her for finding those perfect matches.
You were talking to me before the interview about your own billet history and the relationships that you formed as a result of being a billet.
I still have contact with billets that I had over 30 years ago. These are lifetime and lifelong relationships. They're not just for the season, although it might feel that way, especially if you're a little kid and you've become attached to the player that's in your house and season's over or there's a trade and they're gone, your heart's torn out. But hey, another player comes along and a new relationship is formed.
So if anybody would like to get involved in the billet program with the Campbell River Storm, just contact yourself or Sherilyn.
Sherilyn or Lee or Linda. We'll put you into the program. We'll find a place for you. We'll go through the process, the necessary steps, and hopefully we can put a player into your home and change your life forever.
Talking with Storm General Manager and Head Coach Lee Stone. Geez, Lee, it's the off-season. We're talking the middle of the off-season. You've been busy, a lot of transactions, commitments, trades. First of all, I just want to talk about you. When we talked earlier in the season or last season, you talked about your plan, and you talked to Ken Hitchcock about how to be a coach and what you needed to do, and he said, Lee, go out and build something. Well, you have. You were VIJHL champions. You've won a bronze and a gold at the Cyclone Taylor, Western Canadian champions. Are you moving on? Lots of rumors right now.
No, I'll be back again. I think we kind of talked about it a little bit at the end of the year. I think if we had have won this year, it probably would have been a little easier to walk away or step away. There's certainly been opportunities, no different than last year, I think, and that says a lot about the program and the guys that show up every day and work hard. I think without those kids, I don't get opportunities in the summertime. So pretty cool for sure for people to notice what we're doing, but I'm pretty excited to be back, and I think myself along with everyone coming back, we got a bit of a sour taste in our mouth, and we got something to prove for sure.
How about behind the bench? Any changes behind the bench this season?
We'll be the same. Enzo and Willie will be back, so that'd be the first for me to have kind of both coaches returning going into the following year. So it'd be nice. I mean, Willie came in kind of halfway through the year last year and thought really brought some energy for our bench, and I think we'll probably have to sit down and kind of sort out how we want things to continue to look. And we're no different than players. We want to get better every day. We want our coaching staff to be as strong as possible, and I'm really excited about it. I know Willie's keen on coming back, and Enzo's Enzo. He's a great piece for us to have, and I know he's probably pretty excited about just being a second-year guy. I think both of them just having the experience of being there, coming back. It's no different than a player. You come back for your second year, there's a little bit more confidence in your step because you're not a rookie anymore per se, so we're both excited to have those guys back for sure.
Some transactions in the offseason. Chris Smith in a trade for Joe Gage. Joe Gage going down to school. Yeah. Any comments on, first of all, Joe Gage and then Chris Smith?
Yeah, I mean, obviously Joey, local guy, great kid. Love having him around. The big thing I'd say about him is what I was most impressed with last year. He worked full-time job, and nobody else on our team did, certainly. And it wasn't like he worked in an office either. He went and worked construction every single day. He'd come to work come to practice with his work boots on, and he'd leave practice and go right back to work. And there's not very many guys that are able to commit to the type of hockey program that we have and do that, and I thought he did it, and he did it pretty admirably too. So for him, you know, obviously when we talked a little bit about what his plans were moving forward, I think he was pretty keen on, you know, doing an apprenticeship and moving forward with that. So we wanted to make sure that was something he could do right away. That's a pretty big loss for us for sure. Like I think, you know, I mean, obviously I think for him he was probably a little disappointed bouncing back and forth, but I thought he was real good for us, both up front and on the back end.
Does that speak to his versatility, though?
It does. He's such a great hockey player. And I think the big thing is just the size and skating ability. There's very few guys that can do that. So he'll be great for West Shore if he doesn't make junior A. I think he's still pretty keen on trying out there. And when a guy skates like that, you're going to at least have people pay attention for sure.
And the transaction that really excited me, because I watched him an awful lot, both in Nanaimo and Oceanside, not just against the Storm, but also on fast hockey, and that's Connor Mowat. And you've been trying to get Connor for a couple of seasons.
Yeah, big body, very strong, tough. He can drop the gloves. Having said that, I think for me that's a very small part of the game that he provides. He skates exceptionally well for his size. You know, if you watched us play against him in Oceanside, he was pretty regularly a guy that kind of got under our players' skins and, you know, finished his checks. And
hard to the net.
Exactly. And for me, you know, losing a guy like Reese Costain last year, I thought Reese, you know, even though he, outside of that last game, it wasn't a big fighter for us this year, he was a guy that other kids kind of tiptoed around. They thought twice about doing certain things. And I think just having someone with the presence is important. And the other thing is, you know, I think he's got a really underrated goal-scoring touch. You know, he's scored a few goals the last couple of years, and I think he's really ready to take another step, especially at our level. I think he's going to push for junior A this year, and obviously we wish him the best of luck. But I think if he's back with us, I think, especially with Willie and I kind of being, you know, forward-oriented coaches, I think we can really work with him and kind of help add a few more goals to his stat line for sure.
And you were busy in the last few weeks committing your APs from last season and picking them up. Want to go through the list and talk about some of the pickups. Dawson Frank back in the lineup wearing a Storm uniform. That's pretty exciting. Brett Kinley, who I thought played really well when he was called up last season.
Yeah, Dawson's super exciting. I mean, we loved Dawson 2 years ago. It was part of our big push there, and a lovable kid. Like, I think if you ask every guy that knows him in that room, they're pretty excited to add him into the dressing room. And that says volumes about a kid who's going to be 17, who is as well liked as he is. He's kind of a glue guy in the dressing room. You know, obviously I don't think he was quite satisfied with how his season went last year, and I think he's another guy that's kind of got something to prove. You know, he's coming back here to really set the tone in terms of working his way into the BCHL one day. So we're really excited. I think, you know, you saw that video on YouTube.
Beauty goal.
I mean, that to me sums up Dawson Frank in a nutshell. And the nice thing is, you know, with the way we play offensively, everything we do is we want pucks deep. We want to get pucks deep, work below the hash marks. One thing that Dawson Frank is really good at is protecting the puck down low, working off the wall. And with Brett, I mean, obviously you said it best. I mean, to me, the prime example is we're playing Hunter Mile in that game. It's a hard game to get excited for because we knew we weren't going to get to the finals either way in Cyclone. And who gets us going? Brett Kinley. And it wasn't even the fact that he scored the goal going hard to the net. I think you even kind of commented on it. To me, he turned the puck over. He made the whole play.
Forced it twice in the same play,
Exactly.
and then takes a face to the crossbar for his effort. And it wasn't just that. You talked about it in the playoffs. He came into your lineup and he just fit in.
Well, I knew when we were we played his first game down in West Shore. He ended up actually scoring probably the easiest goal anyone will ever score because Colin Blake
set it up.
Exactly. But I knew right away we dumped the puck in his first shift, and I think he was playing with Christian Brandt and Aaron Brewer actually that game, and puck goes in deep, and Brewer and Brandt are hard in on the forecheck. Most APs who are playing their first junior game aren't going to recognize they're the high guy, and they're going to get puck caught a little bit. He played our 2-3 perfectly. He was the high guy, acted as the third D-man, and that was kind of when I knew right then and there, like, he's got the hockey sense. And I think anytime you talk to a scout or GM at any level, the game now, it's so much about smarts and where you are and what you can do and how you fit in. And I think that's Brett Kinley's strongest attribute is his hockey sense.
Some other players, Jaden Narduzzi, he played a couple games last season. Want to remind the Storm fans what you saw in him?
Yeah, I think for Jaden, like he's played for that Northeast Chiefs team for 2 years now. He won the championship in that league as a kind of a younger guy on that team. But this year he really took kind of the bull by the horns. Talked to their coach a few different times. He was pretty convinced he's going to play in the BCHL this year. You know, he's going to PG's camp, so we'll see how that plays out for him. But you know, for us, I thought in the 2 games he played, I thought he had a bit of a tough night the one night. Having said that, his first career junior game was in Saanich, which, as people who watched our playoff series against them recognize, like they're a pretty hard team to play against.
Yeah.
And but it was very evident very quickly his skating ability, his vision with the puck. You know, I think offensively he's going to be very, very strong at our level. And I think to be a real successful guy at the BCH level, he's going to have to work on some of the defensive-oriented side of the game. But I think that's pretty common for kids that are 17 years old. But I think for sure he's going to come in and be a guy that really produces for us right away, I think.
Nolan Welsh.
Yeah, Welshie, obviously really excited to get him. I think there was a little bit of a decision factor for him. You know, obviously wants to play for the Grizzlies, wants to be close to them. So I think he had a bit of a decision to make in terms of what he wanted to do. But I think with the success his brother had in our program, and obviously he's AP'd. I think he's played 9 games for us the last 2 years. So he's a guy we're really excited about. There's no question we're going to try to recreate the Blake Welsh magic and see how that works out. You know, obviously I want to be careful. I don't want to put high expectations on Nolan to score 75 points this year.
No, I get that.
You know, I actually think Nolan is probably a little stronger, a little sturdier than Tyler was. I think skates probably a little bit better. Probably shoots a little bit better.
Yeah.
Obviously, Tyler's got some pretty gifted vision with the puck, so there's a little bit of a difference there. But I think Nolan's going to come in and be a guy that's going to produce for us pretty quickly right off the bat. And 2 other commitments that we have are Zach Earhart and Reid Wilson. Zach played for the Okanagan Rockets, was a real key player for them. He's a guy that I think is going to come in and be very good. I would say right now, if I had to put my money on someone winning Rookie of the Year, it's Zach Earhart.
Wow, okay.
He just plays hard. There's no other way to put it. And when you accompany that with skill and skating ability, especially at our level, I think he'll be very successful. And Reid Wilson's another one, played OHA prep this year. He's been there the last couple of years. He's a Comox kid, though.
Okay.
So kind of a local. We're pretty excited to have him. He's going to go to Alberni's camp, and I know they're pretty keen on him. He's a guy that's... Again, a bit of a smaller guy that can skate really well. Not very much fun to play against.
Okay.
He's going to be a guy that I think will probably end up getting some hard minutes against some of the other team's top lines. I feel sorry for anybody that will have to play against him and Aaron Brewer on a line together this year.
The thing about a successful hockey program is, and a development program at that, is you guys move on. Any idea who's coming back? There's a lot of junior A camps, I'm sure, that could change your lineup at the start of the season.
Yeah, I think we've lost Scardina and McCann. I don't think that's necessarily been announced officially, but they're going to both go off to junior A with Kindersley and the SJ there. So really excited for both those guys. I think they're going to do really well out there. Obviously, we've lost Josh Koblenz to Powell River, as everyone saw in that announcement. To me, that was kind of a no-brainer there. I think there was a couple other teams that definitely showed interest in him that kind of made him think twice. But again, the consistency of having guys who've gone there in the past and be successful. I think obviously we traded Bottomley, but I think he's a guy that could push to play at that next level for sure. Other than that, it sounds like we're getting a pretty good chunk of guys back. Slaney and Steger are both committed to coming back on the back end. Slaney will go to a junior A main camp. I think probably Trails. Obviously, I think he's going to be real close. Mm-hmm. I think it depends for him more on opportunities so much as to how he plays. I think he's the type of kid that'll go in and work his can off and make everyone think twice regardless. It'll be key for him to make sure that, if it is Trail that he goes to or wherever it is he goes, that there is an opportunity there. And up front, we've got some real talent coming back. Our 20-year-olds are strong. We've got Hikichi, Oishi, and Holub all coming back.
Wow, yeah.
Blakey's back. Brant's back. So I think those are a couple of guys right up front right away that, obviously Blakey...
Blakey could get that record this year.
And I think he probably will. He's right there. Sounds like Aaron Brewer's going to be back.
He played so hard for you down the stretch.
Yeah. He's a guy that, again, I talked about Reid Wilson and him a little bit, that he's just, other guys hate playing against him. And he again, we talk about our system, fits perfectly. Gets pucks down low, really kind of sneaky and sly off the wall, and kind of shimmies and shakes his way through the corners there. And then obviously adding those pieces in Reid Wilson and Connor Mowat up front. I think up front we're deep. We're very deep. I think we've still got some holes. I think we probably have 2, maybe 3 spots that we want to fill, probably with a younger guy or 2 through camp that we kind of have our eyes set on. And then on the back end, we're probably going to add another younger guy, and then we'd like to have probably a 20-year-old back there that we don't have right now, similar to a Nathan Brown or a Curtis Tonev, who we've been able to bring in the past. So we'll try to keep that 20-year-old spot open for a real stud on the back end for sure.
Part of a successful program that the Storm has had in the past few seasons, as we mentioned, guys move on, and that's why the identification camp in July is so huge, and it has been a great resource for the Campbell River Storm. You want to talk about the ID camp?
Yeah, I think for me it's really exciting this year. Last year we did a camp in Langley, which I think, it kind of spread out the talent amongst 2 camps. This year we're just doing our Campbell River camp, and already we've got a pretty talented group of kids attending that camp, including all of our recruits that we've committed to. They're all going to be there. We'll have quite a few vets that'll come skate that kind of help push the pace too. So yeah, I'm very excited about it. July 22nd, it'll be 4 teams, full 4 teams, guys that probably, if they're not going to play here, are going to push to play in other places. And just off our numbers last year, there was 13 players that played a game for us at some point, whether it was as an AP or rostered player, which I think is a pretty high number for sure. And then there's another 19 players who went on to play for other teams. And that doesn't even count the players who chose to play college school sport league or chose to play major midgets. So I think obviously we bring in high level talent, and I think that makes a big difference in terms of kids come in, have the experience with us. It ends up starting to build a relationship, which I think we've done really well through our AP program in the past couple of years. And then on top of that, there's teams in our league and other leagues who, we've been successful the last couple of years, and I think they pay close attention to guys who are very close to making our team, but don't quite do so. I think, a few of those guys definitely end up finding places to play, and I can't imagine that wouldn't be the same this year again.
Sign of a good program, not just guys going on to Junior A, but again, your 20-year-olds moving on to college, and a number of announcements recently on that, so congratulations on that, Coach. Just before we cut this short, comments on Facebook post on James Severs. That was really sad news. You want to just talk about that a little bit, and James?
Yeah, devastating. The thing for me is I've played road hockey thousands of times, and I think we all have, and I don't think for 1 second any of us ever thought, hey, this could happen. And even if you did, no different than when it first happened. I think all the players there assumed, high stick, he's going to get some stitches and he'll be fine.
Yeah.
And that's obviously, I think a lot of guys don't realize how risky it is when sticks are flying around and things like that. But definitely a freak accident, and obviously he's such an incredible hockey player. I mean, talk about James Severs, a hockey player. When he was going and he was motivated to play, there were very few guys that could do what he could do with the puck. An example I would use is, my first year, he came back to play for us, and we were in Kerry Park, and I think it was a close game. I think it was 3-2 at the time, and we had a power play, and he ran the half wall on our power play, and he was literally touching the boards, like his butt was touching the boards on the half wall. He took one step off and shot the puck short side. And even the goalie, Leighton Williams, if you see the video, Leighton Williams drops into his butterfly, and he still doesn't know where the puck is. It's already behind him, and he's waiting for it to come.
Yeah.
And that to me sums up, Sevs, when he was on his game. I don't think there was many guys that I've seen at least play at this level that can shoot the puck like he could. He could let him fly.
Surgener. Severs now stick handles around one player, and now it could be a 3-on-2 for the Storm. Does the drag move, comes in, on front, they shoot, they score! What a play by Severs took a breeze, and he gets on the board, and it's 7-1 Campbell River.
What a play by Severs, my goodness.
I tell you what, Severs is making a case to be one of the stars tonight. Rusty with 4 points on the evening and a dazzling assist there.
as a Storm fan, I remember James playing for the Storm, crowd favorite, and moved on. Was it Creston?
It went to West Shore first, and then Creston, and then wanted to be back closer to home this year, so ended up getting the trade to Comox there, and obviously the unfortunate part of last weekend happened, but again, we've told Sebs, I told him, hey, like, if you want to help us out, whether it's as an eye in the sky, a video coach, whatever it is, I think he's a guy that wants to stay involved in the games, so I think that'll be a big piece for him to stay involved and stay active with the game. And I think he's, obviously he'd be able to tell you best, but I think given how tough the news has been, I think he's certainly handling it extremely well, and I think that says a lot about the type of kid James is.
Looking forward to the regular season, way off in September. Got an identification camp, training camp. Like to thank you very much for doing this, Coach Stone. Great to have you behind the bench and general manager position for the upcoming season.
Perfect. Well, I look forward to it. And again, camp July 22nd. We do have some spots available still. So if you think you want to be a guy that plays for the Storm one day, even if it's not this year, it's something that we've done very successfully in the past, is make sure we involve those players that are coming to camp and show potential, whether it's this year or down the road. So come on out to camp.
That'll do it for the Storm pregame show, early edition. Your next Storm Fast Hockey broadcast is Friday, September 2nd at 7:30 Pacific Time. We'll be live from the Brindy for the season opener against the Oceanside Generals. There's so many people to thank. You'll see their names scroll by shortly. I'd like to thank Reid Wilson, Wes Road, and Lee Stone for being on the show. I'm Mark Berry. Enjoy the rest of your summer, and we'll see you at the rink.